Alright, chapter 2. Around age 4, between, the summer I left preschool and was getting ready to start kindergarten, my mother had a nervous breakdown and she had a seizure and everything, and she went into the hospital. My dad was still trying to take care of us, still working, but still trying to make sure he was supportive and he was there with her in the hospital. So, he asked one of our relatives if they could watch me, since my brother wasn't really reliable with his addiction. And that's where I went to stay while my mother was in the hospital. She was in ICU, and there was a lot of turmoil going on during that time. After that, my mother came out of the hospital. This was around the weekend of 4th of July that year. My mother came out of the hospital, and about 2 weeks later, my father died. That was a devastating blow for all of us. I was not at all prepared for that. Of course, I was only 4 years old, but people seem to think that 4-year-olds don't understand death. Like, children that young don't understand death, but I knew my daddy was not coming back. And it hurt. It hurt so bad that I couldn't bring myself to go to the funeral. Like, it was nothing they could do to make me go into that funeral. I was not sitting there looking at this box that my dad was going to be in, and that was going to be the last way that I saw him. So, some may call it crazy and may not really believe it, but that's the truth. I would not go to that funeral because I did not want to see my dad that way. After that, my mom spiraled into a deep depression, and our whole home just fell into shambles. After that, my dad died, I really had no more stability in the home. After he died, I had no more stability. I ended up having to, I had to grow up, because I ended up, in a sense, starting to look after myself, and I started learning how to prepare my own meals, started trying to prepare my mother's meals, make sure she took her medicines. I said for that period of time, next few years, I missed school because I felt I had to be a big girl and look after my mother. So I would miss school going to her appointments with her. It was a whole lot for a child to take on. Some days, like, she would have to call someone to come get me, and I would have to go do the grocery shopping because she couldn't get out the bed to go do it. It was that bad. So I had gotten into the habit where, somebody, I could sign her name and go do things. Somebody take me to the bank and get money out the bank, and I would go take the money to the housing office to pay the rent. I mean, I was a 6-7-year-old kid walking around with $300 in my pocket, knowing what I was supposed to do with it. I took on a lot of responsibility at an early age. It was very different. And then came the next event, and that's going to lead me into chapter 3.